At this point, we're just doing things because we can. Today, I'm going to showcase to you guys my solo R5 team on my not even 2-week-old beginner account. As you guys can see, I can't even select R5 in my repeat auto battle. So this is actually like, we're really only doing it for the first time. Also, don't look for the fight doubler right now. This is really not what I would recommend, but since this account has done nothing but farm Spiritual Realm and maybe a pinch of Giants, this is kind of what I have to go for, at least for the first bit. So you know what, we're just gonna start off by setting up all of my team comps right now, and I'm gonna explain it to you after this run is over in the repeat auto section, because I kind of just want to witness it myself, see if it works out or not. I'm kind of curious. Again, this is a first try. I have no idea if this is going to work out, but it's going to be interesting. So as you guys can see, the team in the middle is kind of like a mishmash of all of the units that kind of make sense, plus we got a leader skill with that Elsharion. The team comp on the right is one that I don't know how much time I want to spend on in this video, because it's been like covered over and over again to the point where I even feel comfortable building it. And then the team comp on the left is kind of just like team up based, and I'm gonna talk about it also like very in detail, I feel, because it's really interesting to me and I can't wait to show you guys. Alright, so my Balegyr, yep, it died, but it's still GG. Here we go, solo R5. And how fast is it? 42 seconds. So it's not like a speed team, like a full speed team, but I'm really curious to see if this is going to be consistent. So now that we know that this team comp does work on the first try, I want to give you guys my general opinion about R5, because honestly, I didn't really intend on making this guide so early. I mean, don't get me wrong, like getting that extra 15% stat increase by having your monsters grinded is definitely nothing to like scoff at, but especially during the Fever event season right now, like doubling your rates from 3% to 6% for any sort of grinds is nothing compared to like doubling the Swift chances from 20 to 40. Like, you don't have to be good at statistics to know that that's like a massive increase, especially for beginner accounts. So with that said, just so you guys know, I don't intend on farming this dungeon for more than like, let's say 2 days. And then I'm going to go back to spamming Giants, especially also now that I have an Akamamir on my account that I'm just waiting to Devilmon. Now let's start off by talking about the team comp that you guys see me use in the middle, which I think as a general rule of thumb, doesn't matter if it's your first R5 team or your last one, a speed team, you kind of want to have the most consistent and kind of like the tankiest, safest team comp standing in the middle, which I know like sometimes it looks just cooler to have your Balegyr Janssen in the middle. I really like running my team comp, which right now I'm running it with a Darion, for instance. It's an extra like 30% less damage taken from all of his allies. That's quite a huge boost, to be honest. So in case I ever decide to fail on one of my left or right dragons, the head goes over into the middle, which is the tankiest team, which technically by design should survive for the longest and just kind of buys some more time for the other side to dish out as much damage as possible. So my main goal for this team is not like just one-shotting the boss, not providing like super consistent damage. I do have a bunch of armor breakers in here, but that's kind of like the main idea of the team in the middle for myself. Now those are the stats of my Darion. I pretty much just put him on as many like all attribute thingies from the Spiritual Realm as possible. So you do see me put an enhanced set on him. He's on HP, defense, HP. I think in general, I would prefer to have him on like a double defense build. But again, like I didn't really get too lucky with his runes just yet. Next up is going to be Fran, which is the only unit that I have on Violent on this account right now. So she is on speed, HP, and defense. And we do actually already have one grind that I've gotten from farming like the lower stages. It was a heroic grind. And this is my Fran's stats. It's very straightforward. I think the main thing that you want to mention is that like she doesn't have any attack. As you guys can see, she's pretty much just a walking attack buff with a little bit of immunity. I also don't really run any cleansers. But what I do run is a pretty nice leader skill that every one of you guys can access. The Elsharion, he has 33% attack lead, which I think is one of the best ones you can pick up for R5. There are a few like mono element ones like the Fire 9-tail Fox, or even like a bunch of like fire, like 50% attack leads from that 5s that you can pick up. I like Elsharion because pretty much everyone can get him. You can buy like these coins when you first like make a new account. And I can highly recommend building an Elsharion like that. I also bought the Mystic Archer that way. So it's basically just 2 free leader skills that are amazing for solo R5. So that's my Elsharion. He is on like a triple fight set, like pretty much most of the units that I am running. This team comp is pretty much the only one that does not run any will runes, because again, this one is supposed to tank for the longest. And both of the other ones, they do have these mechanics where they kind of want to be timed. Now let's continue with the team on my left side, the one that I think is like kind of the most creative, or that probably not everyone knows. I guess everyone already knows the Balegyr Janssen. I'm just going to put it in this video to have like a complete guide of it. But this is kind of like my most interesting team comp, I think, which revolves around having a lot of team ups with the Vertihal and also like a guaranteed attack buffer, which is, as you guys can see, the Hong Yon. They really got lazy with naming her. Pretty much what she does is her third skill puts her in a state where she cannot be teamed up with, which is like amazing for support when you pair up with a bunch of Raoks, because I definitely don't want her first skill to attack the boss when I could have, let's say, like a Vert or a Crow attacking it instead. So definitely keep that in mind. I think she's by far the best support for R5 for that reason. He is on a Will double determination set, because I am actually running an Ikaru in this. Which, by the way, is unskilled, and also, like, I think I can switch out one determination set once my Ikaru does have at least, like, some sort of grinds, because right now he's just not getting to the point where I can get rid of one set, and I would much rather team up with 4 people instead of 3. So keep that in mind. For now, I'm running, I think it's 6 determination sets, and I think what's very easily doable could be 5. So that's my Hong Yong, straight up, and we're gonna just keep going in terms of attack order. I think the next one should be, let me have a look. Yep, it's my Ikaru, which guarantees teams up with 4 people, which is going to make sure that we definitely do land our armor break. Those are his stats. He's just below the defense cap, I think. We're going to just kind of like grind a few. And for this one, I already got 1. So we're just past the point where I'm going to actually be able to run 5 sets. But Ikaru, we all know what he does. Very straightforward. He's unskilled right now. I might give him skill ups. I'm not sure. I think he's still like very good for Punisher script, so I would probably recommend doing that. But yeah, I'm just going to swipe through his runes. He's on defense, defense, defense. Very straightforward. Coming up next is going to be my Raok, who is on a very weird set, which is going to make him basically unusable for everything else in PvE right now. So again, like, I'm just going to try and get through this R5 as fast as possible, and then go back to farming something else, maybe Giant, so I can keep my Raok for a little bit longer like that. But yeah, this is definitely not very good for anything but R5. Now, the main reason why you want to put Will on some of your damage dealers is because the boss technically does move first, and you can put on Oblivion and Attack Break. So having like Will runes on your damage dealers is quite nice. I'm not going to put it on my Ikaru, it's very hard to rune it, but that could definitely also be like an option. I think the most important one in this team comp is definitely the Vert you have on Will, because you definitely are relying on his passive to get like the extra 40% attack. Pretty much only have it for R5. This is why there's so many endgame players that have, I think on my own account, I have 4 Verts and like 3 or 4 Laurens for that exact same reason. Because you need like a slow Vert and a slow Lauren for R5. You need a fast like fight set Vert for like some other dungeons, especially for Lauren. There's like so many different builds out there. So it's kind of hard to like incorporate everything into one. But for now, this is the way I have mine runed. It's on attack, crit rate, and attack. Technically, if I were to like be super nerdy about it, we have the Kali leader skill, which is 24% crit. I could go for like a crit damage Vert. I just don't even have the runes for it right now. Again, this is like a super rudimentary team comp right now, but technically I don't even need 100% crit for my Vert. Then it's my Crow moving, who is again on a determination set. I could again also put like a Will rune set on him. But it's, again, like, I farmed, like, Necro B10 for, like, a day to prep for this, just so I have, like, a few more War Runes, and I'm running very dry. So, yeah, I have my Crow in here, and then I have my Fami, which, again, is one of those units you can all pick up with the coins. What's amazing about her is that she has a 25% crit damage leader skill, which is very unique in this game. There's not a single other unit with crit damage, and it just pays off very hard for R5 to incorporate her. She's also very easy to skill, which is another huge plus for me, and I'm running her on Triple Fight again on HP, crit damage, and attack, just to make sure that she doesn't fall over. She's in that 3 without Secondary Awakening, so there's a fairly good chance that she just dies. So I'm gonna make sure that she survives for a little bit longer to make use out of her first skill and the team-ups. And then last but not least, I have my Vert, which, yeah, you kind of want to have him move last. He's on attack, crit rate, and attack. I already showcased it. just so he can like kind of make my team cycle a little bit faster and just kind of deal with the boss that way. But just for completion's sake, I'm going to also talk about my Balegyr Janssen team, which is on the right side. And if you guys don't know, if you're new to this community, this is a very old team comp. There's definitely like more detailed guides about it, which I'm going to leave a link in the pinned comment to a very detailed spreadsheet about the topic. So if you aren't 100% consistent and kind of want to figure it out for yourself with your own runes, there's like certain speed caps and certain like attack orders that you need to consider. But this is the way I'm going to make it work. Just to give you like a brief understanding of what it's revolving around, is you kind of want to have certain units die, which triggers Balegyr's passive, which increases stacks on him. And if you have stacks plus attack buff, he does like a decent amount of damage. And you kind of get through certain phases of the boss fight extremely quick. And all you really need is like a decent rage set, a few fight runes, and a few will runes. So it's very, very easy to build this team comp. We're going to start off with my Colleen. The main thing with her is that I do actually have a second Colleen right now because I don't really want to second awaken her. Because the main thing is you want to have her be on pretty low HP to trigger her S3, which gives a guaranteed attack buff. And if you have that, that's pretty much all she needs to do. Another unit that definitely everyone else also has is the Lauren. She is here just for the guaranteed armor break. So very straightforward. She has a bunch of multi-hit. And she is on will runes, which is very important for certain units. For her, it's because her passive, which again, like it decreases attack bar and it gives a defense break. So you definitely 100% want to have will runes on Lauren, which, I mean, you need like 50 speed on her. It's very easy to get. Just pick up like a random will set. It doesn't need to have speed and just put it on her. The next unit coming up is going to be the Balegyr. Again, he does need 100% will runes because the boss has Oblivion and otherwise his passive doesn't work. So give him a will set. This is by far like the hardest to rune monster in this team comp. And what I have on him is attack, crit damage, and attack again. So those are his stats. Don't build him too fast. I think the speed cap on like the bottom side would be like, it's plus 27 speed. So if you have below that, the boss is going to lap you, and you really don't want that to happen. But besides that, just put him on like a decent amount of crit damage, and some attack. Basically, the Balegyr that you got from the Fever event is like 95% there. All you need is to put a will set on him and you're good to go. Then I also want to mention Janssen, who has a revive that also gives attack bar, so it helps you cycle during this boss fight. How you rune him is you put shield sets on him and as many fight sets as you can. And that's basically his stats. The speed is kind of like the most important one. And then also making sure that he just doesn't fall over and die right away. So he is a unit where you can actually get away with maxing all of his runes, which I wouldn't recommend for the Colleen, because you're kind of shooting for like a very amount of defense, which is like roughly 500, and then like roughly 10,000 HP. So you don't want to have a 6-star Colleen unless you want to have like a different sort of Balegyr Janssen setup. And then the last two units, which are kind of important to mention, is going to be the Agora, who needs to be on will again, and he just is there to die and then get like a revive. So it's very nice for the Balegyr Janssen team again to get as many stacks as possible and just run him as squishy as possible, stack as many fight sets as possible. You just want to have him to die and give stacks to Balegyr, which is the same thing for the Kali, who technically also has a leader skill, which is the main reason why I'm running her. And also she's in triple fight again. Okay, so now that we got that covered, I'm pretty much almost done with all the PvE scenarios I can put this account. I haven't posted anything on Necro yet, which I can clear Necro Abyss hard, but it's not 100% consistent, and pretty much the main reason for that is because this Cannon Girl is unskilled and also my Lornette. I made guides on this on my endgame account, and I can basically replicate the same team comp on my beginner account already. It's very straightforward. And with dragons, again, I don't recommend farming it for the first like 2 months of any beginner account. I'm not going to do it myself. I think I'm going to stick with B10 for like every once in a while if I need to do like a daily, and just re-upping Violent Runes and getting Violent Runes from other means. For the first like few weeks, it's way more important to just be as fast as possible on your Swift Runes and get a broad like PvE benchmark before you get into doing anything like super fancy for PvP that requires you to survive like fucking 3 turns to like actually get some benefits out of it. You're way better off just going for like snipe team comps. And yeah, this is pretty much the account that I have right now. As you guys can see, I did also get a bunch more units. I'm currently getting my last couple of second awakenings in, namely being the Escher and also the Vigor, and then maybe I'm also gonna get like a Mina and a few more like kind of niche units, like an Elucia could be another option. I don't have any like insane runes that I want to show you guys besides maybe this one. I think this one speaks for itself. I got extremely lucky. I got a max triple roll on like my second week of this account. This is on par with my own endgame account Swift runes, which is just crazy. And then besides that, we got a few more triple rolls, and not a flat stat triple roll, which is just disgusting. I think that's one trend that you're gonna see on my own account. I'm gonna do a full rune review once we get into PvP, but just know I don't recommend farming R5 for like longer than 2 days. I'll be reruning my entire account past that, and I'm gonna make some more guides for you guys. On that note, let me know what you guys want. I've been getting a bunch of very detailed and just loving comments lately. It really does motivate me to keep going. I really appreciate you guys, like all the love that I've gotten from like being away for like years at this point. And yeah, see you guys in the next video. Bye!